Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever felt like words like hot, cold, or rainy just don't really do justice to what's happening outside? Well, today we're going to dive into some seriously powerful vocabulary that can turn a basic weather report into a vivid, dramatic story. Let's build our own atmospheric lexicon.
So, are you ready to describe a storm like a poet? Instead of just giving you a boring list of words to memorize, we're going to do something different. We're going to plant them inside a short, memorable story about a lighthouse keeper. That way, these words will actually stick. They'll come to life. Our story starts now.
All right, picture this, a remote lighthouse. The scene is just one of complete and total stillness. It's one of those quiet afternoons where the air itself feels like it's holding its breath, right before everything's about to change.
So our lighthouse keeper jots this down. The heat was absolutely sweltering. A sultry, heavy atmosphere hung over the island. Okay, stop right there. Sweltering and sultry. I mean, they both mean hot, right? But what's the real difference between them? There's a crucial one.
And this is where it gets interesting. Sweltering is just that raw, oppressive, like you're in an oven kind of heat. But sultry? That adds a whole other layer. Humidity. Yeah. It's that thick, heavy, sticky feeling in the air that makes you feel like you can't quite catch your breath. So think of it this way. One is dry heat, the other is wet heat.
The story continues. Hoping for a zephyr to cool my skin, but the air remained perfectly still. Man, you can really feel that longing, can't you? That desperate hope for just the tiniest bit of movement in the air.
And that is exactly what a zephyr is. It's not a gust. It's not even really a wind. It's the softest, most gentle of breezes. It's the absolute perfect word for that light, welcome little puff of air on a sweltering day.
But you know that quiet couldn't last forever. As the evening starts to creep in, the whole mood just shifts dramatically. The sky itself starts sending out these warning signals of what's on the way.
The sky turned a bruised purple, signaling the approach of inclement weather. What an amazing image, a bruised purple sky. And notice that word choice, not just bad weather, inclement weather. It sounds so much more official, so much more serious.
Inclement is this wonderfully precise term. It pretty much covers all kinds of harsh conditions. We're talking severe cold, driving rain, stormy winds, the whole shebang. It's a really sharp way of saying, okay, things are about to get real.
Now, what's absolutely wild is just how fast this all happens. Look at this rapid descent. At 3 in the afternoon, it is sweltering. By 6 p.m., the sky is looking seriously threatening. And just 1 hour later, by 7 p.m., the air has become totally frigid.
And when we say frigid, we are not talking about, oh, I need a light jacket, cold. No, we mean a deep, penetrating, bone-chilling cold. It's the kind of cold that feels sharp, almost like it's biting at you. A complete 180 from the heat of the afternoon.
Okay, the stage is set. The heat has vanished, the cold has slammed in, and now the fury is unleashed. The storm makes landfall, and it arrives with some spectacular violence.
The storm's arrival basically happens in 4 distinct stages, and each one has its own perfect vocabulary word. First, a sudden squall hits. Then, the ocean becomes tempestuous. After that, a howling gale starts battering the lighthouse. And finally, a massive deluge is unleashed. Let's unpack those.
So that first hit is the squall. This isn't the entire storm just yet. Think of it as the opening act. It's that sudden, violent blast of wind and rain that just comes out of nowhere. It's abrupt, it's shocking, and it tells you the main event is here.
And right as that squall hits, the ocean becomes tempestuous. Now, I love this word because it perfectly captures that chaotic, turbulent, violent motion of a stormy sea. But what's cool is that it can also describe powerful emotions, which makes it incredibly useful.
After that first squall, the wind really settles in for the long haul. And that's what we call a gale. This is not just a gust. A gale is a sustained, powerful, howling wind. It's that relentless force that just pushes and pushes and batters against everything, like our poor lighthouse.
And finally, the deluge. This is so much more than just heavy rain. A deluge is a torrential downpour. I mean, we're talking an overwhelming amount of water that can cause flooding in an instant. It's like the sky has just decided to completely open up and dump everything it has.
So the storm is raging on, but our narrator notices something interesting about its rhythm. He writes, "Throughout the long night, the thunder was intermittent, so it wasn't a constant, non-stop roar."
And that's exactly what intermittent means. It stops and it starts. It happens at irregular intervals. You know, that creates a totally different kind of tension, doesn't it? These brief, eerie moments of quiet suddenly shattered by the storm roaring back to life.
So, after surviving that incredibly dramatic night in the lighthouse, we've come away with a powerful new set of tools for our writer's toolkit. Let's do a quick final review of all the words we've added to our atmospheric lexicon.
And here they are, all in one place. We started with that deceptive calm before the storm, the sweltering and sultry heat, and that desperate wish for a gentle zephyr. Then came the turn, inclement skies and that frigid temperature drop. And finally, the storm's full power, the opening squall, the tempestuous sea, the howling gale, the deluge of rain, and that intermittent thunder. 10 words to paint 1,000 pictures.
So here's the thing. These words are now yours. They're tools you can use for observing, for describing, for telling your own stories. So the only question that's really left is, what story are you going to tell with them? Thanks so much for joining me.